In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 games that make up the Survivor. I'm going to go over them pretty quickly. Don't think that you have to comprehend everything. After this video, I'm going to have a little Q&A to sort of explain things more fully. The first game and the main game is called the Survivor Series, or the Survivor Series game, or just the Survivor. It's pretty simple, really. We have 56 teams in this league. The first week, we'll look at the scores in week 1. The 4 lowest scoring teams are eliminated from the Survivor. And in week 2, we'll do the same thing. We'll eliminate 4 more teams, and we'll just keep eliminating teams every week until we get to week 16. There's only 4 teams left. There's a couple little wrinkles with this. There's immunity. The high score each week gets immunity the next week, which means they can't be eliminated. And there's also revival. Revival's pretty cool because even if you get eliminated early, you can still get back in. But it's not easy. In order to get back in, you must have the highest scoring team of. You must be the highest scoring team of all 56 teams in the entire league, and then you'll get revived. It doesn't happen often. Last year we had 2 teams get back in, but at least it's possible. The second game in the Survivor Series is League Play. League Play should be pretty easy to figure out since it's basically just like every other fantasy league you've ever been in. The 56 teams in the Survivor are broken down into 4 14-team leagues. So you'll be in one league with only 14 teams. You have your own separate draft. You have your own league schedule, your league playoffs, and your championship. You never play teams in another league. You only play against your own league in the regular season and in the playoffs. And each year, 6 of the league's 14 teams make the playoffs. So you got about a 43% chance of making the playoffs every year. The third and final game of the Survivor Series is called relegation. It's probably the most interesting and unique thing about this league. If you're not familiar with the term relegation, what this simply means is switching leagues. At the end of each season, you switch leagues. You might be in one league this year, you'll be in a different league next year, and everyone in the league switches leagues. The reason we switch leagues is something that I haven't told you yet. You see, those 4 leagues that we're in, they're different, and some of the leagues are better than others. And by better, I mean they actually get to draft more players. So if we look at what happened in 2017, if you were in the Premier League, you got to draft 20 players. If you were in the football, you only got to draft 17. And if you're in the crappy, hence the name, you only got to draft 14. So if you follow along with that, it should be obvious to you right now that you want to be in the Premier League and you don't want to be in the crappy league. So the next question should be, how do I determine which league you're going to be in? We determine which league you'll be in the following season based solely on total points scored weeks 1 through 16. It doesn't have anything to do with the Survivor, how long you last in that. It doesn't have anything to do with how many wins and losses you have. It's only based on your total points. Essentially, the highest scoring teams in all 4 leagues go to the Premier the next year. The lowest scoring teams go to the crappy next year. And the teams that score in the middle either go to the football or the newly created Division 3 league. Now, it's important to note that for relegation purposes, your score is only compared to teams in your league. So if a crappy league team is first in the crappy league in scoring, they will go to the Premier, even if a bunch of teams in other leagues outscored them. Now, since you guys are new and you're thinking of joining, you're probably thinking that I'm going to throw you in the crappy league. Well, there's good news because I'm not going to do that, and here's why. Teams that are in the Premier League next year, we already played in 2017, and people earned the right to be in the Premier League. Also, people, quote-unquote, earned the right to be in the crappy league, so they're going to stay there. This year, if you get in this league, you're going to be in Division 3, and it's going to operate exactly like the football league. So you're going to be not at the top, but you're also not going to be at the bottom. You'll be right in the middle. You'll be drafting 17 players this year. So how do we determine what happens to you next year? That is in a chart that I call the relegation tracker, and I'm going to show you that now. This is a relegation tracker, and this chart shows you where you'll be going in 2019 based on the points you score in 2018. Each league has its teams listed from most points to least points, from highest to lowest. And as you can see, the higher you score, the better league you go to. The lower you score, the worse league you go to. You don't need to understand all this. Actually, once we get your teams in there, you'll know to look at your team and you see you're, way down there in the blue and you want to get up in the white. And if you're in the white, you want to get in the green, etc., etc. That's all this is. Now I'm going to do, right after this, I'm going to do a little video, just sort of a Q&A. You don't have to listen to this, but I'm just going to try and explain stuff more fully and sort of answer some questions you might have.